Hello and welcome to the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel, guys. And so it is that time. The NFL schedule release as it continues to unfold bit by bit. I mean, we finally get to see who's going to be playing when and where and identify some of those key matchups that we're going to be keeping an eye out for as this year rolls out. So obviously the NFL Network has their thing. I can't stream that live, their release show. But as they continue to go through it, I can share what we currently do have right now. Matter of fact, let me share my screen real quick, and we'll take a look at that. But definitely let me know which teams are you looking forward to the most, seeing who they have to play. And so let's see. Oh, man, what's good with you? What's good with you? How's it going? I know you had to see about week one. I'm about to pull it up real quick once I share my screen here. So let me just share this real quick. All right, I think, yeah. All right, so here we go. Here we go. And so, Andrew, what's good with you? What's good with you? How's it going? And so let me know if you guys can see that, if it's large enough for you guys to see that. But so essentially, matter of fact, let me see if I can just go ahead and go that route. There we go. All right, so here we go. Week one, again, the entire thing. I'm just waiting on it to continue to update and drop more and more. But we'll discuss week one right off the bat. So right off the bat, you know, first thing that I look at initially, obviously, it is that first matchup on September 8th where the Buffalo Bills go down to the LA Rams. And so that's going to be a clash of the Titans to start off the season. I like it. I mean, that's a great matchup right there. Let's see what the man says. I'd rather face them in Miami in week one than later in the season. And so, yeah, I was going to get to that. Absolutely. I mean, I've been screaming for this for like the last couple years, honestly, for, from the Patriots. It's just, when you go down to Miami early in the year as opposed to later in the year, that's a big difference. And so lately the NFL's been stuck on sending us to Miami late in the year. But this year, they finally went ahead and switched that. I am curious as to when we'll be actually having Miami come down to us. I'm hoping it's going to be late in the season so we can have the weather advantage there. But I'm excited about that, old man. Absolutely. I am excited about that. And so we're looking across some of these key matchups here. Obviously – and so immediately you look and you see that what looks to be Monday night, they have the Broncos and the Seahawks playing each other. So the return of Russell Wilson already to start off in week one. And then not to mention last year's Tampa Bay and Dallas game, Sunday Night Football. That was a great matchup between those two teams last year to start off the season. And so this time it'll be down in Dallas. So we'll see how it plays out. I hear Tampa's got a pretty difficult schedule in the first month. But another matchup I like is the Raiders and Chargers right off the bat. I mean, last time we saw those two teams playing was like at the end of the regular season, the last game of the regular season last year, and what a game it was. And so now Raiders and Chargers in an important division game that who knows, at the end of the year, it could make a difference between playoffs, non-playoffs, division, who knows. And so I do like that matchup. But you guys let me know, what matchups are you looking forward to the most in week one? Obviously, to see who's going to be the Steelers starting quarterback week one. That is going to be a question right there. Going against Cincinnati Bengals. Can the Bengals repeat what they were able to accomplish last season? And let's see, old man says, week one is a crazy week. Lots of great games. Some of them could actually be a Super Bowl. And so, I mean, hey, you're right about that. You are right about that. Absolutely. And so I see what the NFL tried to do with the Carolina Panthers, though, in the sense that if they did end up getting Baker Mayfield in that, hypothetical scenario, that he'd get to start off against his former team week one in that scenario. But I mean, hey, all around some pretty good matchups here. Some pretty good matchups. I cannot lie. Chiefs and Cardinals. It's a good one there. Vikings and Packers there. I mean, while early in the season, while Aaron Rodgers tries to build some rapport with his new wide receivers. And so, obviously the Vikings, they would love to come out and steal that first game there, especially being at home at Minnesota. That could be a challenge right there for them. And so, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about this schedule so far for week 1. And then 49ers and Bears. You may just have Trey Lance versus Justin Fields in this opener. So let's see. Andrew says Bucks Cowboys may be a good game, and so it very well may be. I mean, this time it's going to be in Jerry World, and so we understand that. And so it may just be, honestly, it may just be if they come out with that same intensity, that same drive and focus that they had last year. Hey, we could have another good one this year. Let's see. Old man says, did you hear the Patriots versus Raiders twice this year? One game in the preseason and one in the regular season. And so, yeah, that does not surprise me too much there, but I had not heard that one. But again, that is week 1. So we'll move on to look at some of the week 2 matchups now. And so again, still waiting on this to reveal the rest of the schedule. So I'll keep updating and checking and seeing if it'll update for us. But week 2, I mean, what about that start for the Chargers, guys? I mean, in week 1, you play the Raiders at home, and then in week 2, you play the Chiefs. So if you're the Chargers, you can't come out slow. You got to come out swinging in the opener. And so, but that is a good one. And as for the Chiefs, it's the same thing. You're going down to Arizona, although without Hopkins there, that's going to impact, the Cardinals early on in this one. But still, I mean, they were a playoff team last year. So, I mean, pretty tough start for these guys in the AFC West. And then you've got the Pats going down to Pittsburgh early in the year. And so, again, we'll see who's quarterback in there. But, I mean, if it is going to be the rookie quarterback, then you know how Bill Belichick does against rookie quarterbacks. So we'll see who's going to be quarterback in there. Panthers and Giants, Jets versus Browns. And so I'll be interested to see how the Jets look in that one as well as the Browns. I mean, obviously, we're waiting to see the whole Deshaun Watson situation. Like, will he be suspended? All that stuff. There's going to be a couple questions throughout this and stuff like that. So looking at the Browns schedule and stuff like that, like, are these seems like the kind of games that even if they didn't have, Deshaun Watson for a game like this, that maybe, depending on how the rest of the team does, maybe it's still a winnable game. Not saying that they would just win just even without him, but I'm just saying it could still be a winnable game. And so Andrew says, can't wait till we crush the Steelers in week 2. That's the spirit. Absolutely. And so, if they stick Kenny Pickett out there, Bill Belichick's going to find a way to get the best of the rookie. And so, absolutely. But that definitely does feel like the type of game to look forward to for sure. And then you've got the Colts versus Jacksonville. Indianapolis, another interesting situation for Indy and Matt Ryan. You start off with Houston week 1. I'll say that's, a winnable game. I like what Houston did in the draft there. And then you start off against Jacksonville. So 2 of the teams that had 2 of the top 3 picks. And so, top 4 picks there, top 4 or 5. But ultimately, so the Colts, they could start off 2-0 in the division if they play their cards right. And that could be huge for them. Let's see. I remember last year the Colts got off to such a terrible start because of the schedule that they had. They started off with like 6 tough opponents, and so they just got off to a slow start. But this year they have a chance to do the opposite and get off to a strong start this year. Let's see. Old man says Pittsburgh versus New England is going to be a great game. Hopefully Bill Belichick has that defense ready for that run game. I'm hoping so. Andrew says, yeah, Najee is something else. And so, I expect, obviously year 2, another year under his belt here. You know how it is for running backs. At this age, this is when they come into their zone and all like that. But with a rookie passer, Bill Belichick's going to understand whether we're talking Kenny Pickett or if it's Mitchell Trubisky. Either way, we know that they're going to have to run that ball. And so I like to hope that we'll be ready for it, but we'll see. We will see. All right, so Dolphins versus Ravens. Last time they played, it was like, I know it was a primetime matchup, and the Dolphins upset the Ravens. So we'll see if Lamar Jackson and company can get off to a fast start here this year. Because you think about his MVP season when they opened up the year against Miami, he balled out. But then you think about last time they played, and it was not like that. So we'll see how that plays out. But what really stands out about week 2, Tampa Bay versus the Saints. And immediately the league sent them down to New Orleans here for week 2. So right off the bat, you just went down to Dallas in week 1 for a primetime matchup. Now you're going to be going against your arch rivals in the Saints. And, hey, we know how the Saints have given them difficulties over the last couple of years since Brady's been there. Brady's only won one time. It's been in the playoffs. But, my goodness, doesn't matter who they start at quarterback. They go out there and they ball out. Not to mention, famous Jameis, he's still going to have it in for Tampa Bay. And so he would love to be able to finish in a victory versus Tampa Bay. So we will see how that plays out for sure. But that's going to be a great matchup right there. Then you got the Seahawks and 49ers. Still curious as to what's going to be the Seahawks quarterback situation. But I guess you can say there are some questions with the 49ers there, as we assume that Trey Lance will be quarterbacking. But until Jimmy Garoppolo's off that roster, you just don't know. You just don't know. Let's see. Old man says, NFL not playing this year, starting the year off with some great games. And so, yes, I'm noticing that. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. I mean, I feel like they understood the assignment this year so far, and, hey, I'm liking this a lot. I'm liking this a lot. Again, this is my first time, looking at these schedules here myself. All right, and so and then the Cardinals at the Raiders. Again, without Hopkins there for the Cardinals, an opportunity for the Raiders at home. And so, yeah, the AFC West, you got to win every single game that you can. No lie about that. Houston versus the Broncos. And then we start getting into primetime game categories here. The Bears versus the Packers here. And so we'll see how that plays out. For obviously Aaron Rodgers, he says he owns the Chicago Bears. And so the Bears are never going to forget that every time they play the Packers. So we'll see how that looks there. Again, Aaron Rodgers without Devontae Adams. I'll be monitoring to see how he looks, especially early on in the season as he tries to build some chemistry with his guys. But, man, the one to look at, guys, the Titans versus the Bills. And so I know as Patriot fans, I'm going to be rooting for Tennessee to win that one. But that's going to be one heck of a matchup, guys. One heck of a matchup. You got King Henry coming back. Obviously he returned in the playoffs and stuff like that. But, coming back the whole offseason, he'll be fresh at this point. And so versus Buffalo, who, hey, they made a lot of changes and stuff like that to improve that defense throughout the draft, and plus Josh Allen another year. So we'll see. It's going to be a nice one, though. It's going to be a very nice one. Last year was nice. I expect the same thing. And then we have the other Monday night game here. You've got the Vikings at the Eagles. And so I feel like for the team like the Vikings, given what their schedule has looked like so far, and let's go back and see who they play week one. The Packers here, and then you have Eagles here. And so, I mean, these are the kind of games that you at least got to win one, if not both, but preferably at least get one of these games, I would think, early on for later in the year when we're looking at, the playoff picture. I feel like these early games here will be critical for them. Let's see. Andrew says Titan Bills will be a game to show up to. I agree. Old man says hopefully King Henry to work and they win against Buffalo. And so I feel like we need that. We absolutely need that. Now, if you ask Mr. JB, he's going to be rooting the opposite. He's going to be rooting for Buffalo to beat Tennessee. But, man, look at – all right, so they don't have the entire thing here. Let me just continue to look and monitor and see if I can find the entire schedule up here yet. But give me 1 second here. Okay. All right, 1 second here, guys. Okay, again, trying to find. All right, so let me go ahead and get this over here. All right, so week 3. So let's see. So that Thursday night matchup will be Carolina versus Houston. And so I remember that game from last year, Carolina versus let me see if I can move this out the way here. All right, that should be better. Okay, but yeah, Carolina versus I'm sorry, guys. I pulled up last year's schedule. See if we can find. Let's see. Again, the issue is right now, since they're trying to have they're having their reveal right now. I'm trying to figure out the best way to pull up their schedule here. So, all right. I will figure this out, though. We'll figure this out. Okay, let's see. Right now, I am looking for the schedule. All right, hopefully they got more games up there now. Okay, I guess right now, until I can find the actual complete schedule, I'll just have to go and show the games that they do have for us. Okay. All right, so the ones that they do have revealed here for week 3, let's see, we've got the Steelers and Browns, and so that should be a good one. That should be a good one. Let's see, old man says, it'll be interesting to see if who of these rookie quarterbacks will be starting week 1. That's a good question, though, man, in terms of who do we think in terms of rookie quarterbacks to be starting week 1? That is a great question. Great question. I would have to think personally of all the rookie quarterbacks, I think it's going to be Kenny Pickett. I think Pittsburgh's going to realize Mitch Trubisky just isn't the answer, and I think Kenny Pickett's going to do good enough to where he just wins it in the beginning. I think Atlanta's going to start off with Marcus Mariota in the first week, and so first couple weeks to give Desmond Ridder some time to develop. So I think Kenny Pickett will actually be starting week 1. I mean, he's the one I give the best chance to in terms of all the rookies. So, but we'll see how that plays out. But that's a great question right there. Something to look out for sure. Let's see. Andrew says, I know it's early, but who y'all picking for the Super Bowl? Well, that's a great question right there, Andrew. Let me see who old man got. All right, so old man's got the Bucs versus the Bengals in the Super Bowl. So he thinks the Bengals are going to get there. I'm going to go ahead and say, let me think about this one. And so, because, I mean, in the NFC, I feel that it is going to be Tampa Bay. I just feel like it's going to be Tampa Bay in the NFC. In the AFC, I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say Broncos versus Bucs right now. I'm going to say Broncos versus Bucs right now. I'm going to give Russell Wilson the benefit of the doubt that he's not going to look like he did last year for my fantasy football team. Let's see, Andrew says, that'll be great to see the Bengals back in the Super Bowl. I mean, I'd love to see it. Let's see, Andrew says, Packers versus Patriots. And so, hey, I'd love to avenge that last Super Bowl versus the Packers for the Patriots. I'd love to avenge that one. So I'd love it if Andrew's pick is right. No doubt about that. All right, but looking at the week 3 matchups here, the ones that they do have again up here. And so Bills going down to Miami. Now, from what we've seen recently, and I think, oh, man, you can agree with this in terms of this is the game that I'm really going to be watching Miami, particularly in week 3. How do they match up against the Bills? Because last year they got absolutely slaughtered in that matchup, and Tua just looked lost. If Tua cannot perform in this type of game right here against the Buffalo Bills, I think we'll have our answer about Tua's future if he cannot survive this one. Let's see, old man says, I love what the Bengals did in the offseason draft. Plus, every year Brady doesn't make it to the Super Bowl, his team goes to the Super Bowl the next year. And so I agree with the Tampa aspect of it. And so it's just I'm always weary whenever we see a team that came out of nowhere that had a great run. Because, you know, there was a time in the NFL where the team that actually lost in the Super Bowl, like they tend to struggle that following year, especially, you know, considering how competitive the AFC is. It'll be all up to Joe Burrow to be able to get back to where he was last year and continue from that and not have any type of drop off in his play. But still can see them getting to the playoffs, though. Can still see them getting to the playoffs. Let's see. Saints versus Panthers. And so I really don't know who the Panthers are going to be starting at quarterback week 1, honestly, at this point. I mean, I do not want them to enter with Sam Darnold. They don't want that, I don't think. But, I mean, given the options, unless they go out and acquire Baker Mayfield, that's probably what's going to be the option they're going to have to take. So we'll see how that plays out. Ravens versus Patriots. And so we know that's always a hard-fought game right there. Ravens and Pats. I tell you what, though, old man, looking at this schedule for the Patriots, our run defense is going to be critical early on in this stretch. Like, my goodness, the run defense is going to be critical. especially when we get ready for Baltimore September 25th. That's going to be one. But one that I felt should have been probably a primetime game, Colts and Chiefs. I mean, down in Indianapolis. And so it's going to be a good one. Let's see. Old man says, I said the Dolphins are 1-2 or 0-3. I can see them putting in Teddy Bridgewater as a starting quarterback. I can see it too, old man. But my concern is, I mean, I hate to sound like a downer, but Teddy Bridgewater, I feel like if they insert him at like especially that early, I mean, there's a lot of games. You know, he's bound to miss some games. And so I think at some point they'll end right back up with Tua in the starting lineup. Not because Bridgewater is struggling so bad, but because Bridgewater gets hurt. I mean, his durability has just not been great as of late. So, of course, that stuff is hard to predict there. But I'm just throwing that out there as well. But, yeah, I certainly can see that they're going to be the rumbles are going to be loud and clear at this point of the season if he goes out there and he's struggling like that. Especially if Buffalo just pulls out an all-out just slaughter of Miami again. Like they're not gonna let that slide. Let's see, Texans versus the Bears. You know, Davis Mills versus Justin Fields. Which quarterback takes the bigger leap in year 2? And then Packers versus Buccaneers. And so, I mean, now Rodgers doesn't have Devontae Adams, and Brady still has his weapons. So, good luck to Rodgers. Let's see, old man says, yep, I'm worried about the run defense. That's why I want them to bring back back Akeem Hicks. And so, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Braden says, hey, JB, can you break down the Packers schedule? And so, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Matter of fact, what I'm doing right now is just going through the games we have available. Then once we get through these games, the ones that they are showing, then I'll go ahead and I can start off with the Packers in terms of going down their schedule for you real quick. But absolutely. All right, let's get through week 4 here. So for week 4, got the Dolphins going down to the Bengals. And so, I mean, obviously Joe Burrow there. I mean, hey, he's going to show Tua what a young quarterback should look like. What a young quarterback should look like. So, and then the fact that that's Thursday night, I like that matchup as well. I like the fact that some of these Thursday night matchup games, I'm looking at it like, okay, this is something that I'd be excited to see. You know, so I'm liking what I'm seeing for a lot of these matchups. Vikings versus Saints. And then you've got the Seahawks versus the Lions. And then you've got Tennessee on the road versus Indianapolis, you know, Derrick Henry. And then you've got Jonathan Taylor, 2 marquee running backs in October. That's going to be fun to watch. You've got the Chargers versus the Texans. You've got the Browns at the Falcons. Commanders versus Cowboys. And then Bills versus Ravens. I feel like the Bills are getting a lot of key matchups here, but Bills versus Ravens. And so I know who I'm going to be rooting for in that one. And so let's see. As for the Ravens, though, I mean, the previous week you play against the Patriots on the road, and then after that you have Buffalo come down to your home there. And then you've got the Chiefs and the Buccaneers in week 4. And so what a matchup that's going to be there. And that's going to be a Sunday night matchup game right there. So that's going to be a nice one to watch on that one. Let's see. Andrew says, it will be cool to see Jabril Peppers and his impact. And so, you know what? That is a fact. That is a fact. I am looking forward to seeing that for sure. And so, again, the NFL, again, this is right now what they currently have right now. But week 5, the Giants at the Packers. And so this is where at this point of the season, I'm going to be looking at Daniel Jones real hard. Like, bro, like you got to show them something by now. Like you got to show them something by now. And then they go week 7. You've got the Saints versus Cardinals, Packers versus Commanders here. I like this matchup here, Packers versus Commanders here. In this one, especially, it's going to depend on Carson Wentz, though. If Carson Wentz can at least look decent at this point and they can get the ball into their playmaker hands like Gibson, you know, Terry McLaurin, those guys, then it could be a good game. Let's see, Browns versus Ravens. No, that's going to be a nice matchup right there. Buccaneers versus Panthers, Falcons and Bengals, Lions and Cowboys, Giants and Jaguars. And then you've got Indianapolis on the road at Tennessee. So they'll be playing Tennessee twice in the month of October. And then Texans versus Raiders, Jets versus Broncos, Chiefs versus 49ers, rematch of the Super Bowl from a couple years ago. Seahawks and Chargers, Steelers and Dolphins, and then we get primetime matchup against the Chicago Bears. And so that'll be fun right there. That'll be fun. I mean, I hate to have to root against Justin Fields in that scenario, guys, but Fields versus Mac Jones, we'll be seeing that matchup. Then they have week 8, the Ravens and Buccaneers, Broncos, Jaguars, Panthers, Falcons. All right, so they added a bit more of the schedule. Okay. Let's see. Week 10, you've got Seahawks versus Buccaneers, Cowboys versus Packers. Cowboys versus Packers. Why is that not a primetime matchup? I got to see which ones they did end up putting there. Let's see. Old man says, do you think Giants will start Tyrod Taylor? Maybe try to do a method where Tyrod Taylor plays as quarterback and his backup comes in and balls out. And so that only works with well, you know what? If they did that, they'd have to do that with Sam. I believe they drafted Sam Howell, if I'm not mistaken. They would have to do that with him if I'm not mistaken. He's there. But yes, absolutely. Let's see. Old man says, I'm looking forward to Patriots versus Bears. And so, yes. I mean, I am looking forward to that one, honestly. I really am looking forward to that one. But let's see. But in terms of, do I think that they'll start Tyrod Taylor, not to start off the season, I think that Tyrod Taylor will get the start at some point this year. But I think it'll be more so towards the last couple weeks of the season once they just say, you know what, we're going to punt on Daniel Jones or something like that. Or either he gets an opportunity to get inserted into the game, shows his veteran presence. And so I can see a scenario where he does take over as a starter, but I don't think it'll be for like the first half of the season. They'll truly give Daniel Jones a chance to go out there and show what he can do. But I get what you're thinking, though, man. That philosophy has worked out for many a teams. And then let's see, week 11, Titans on the road at the Packers. And so, hey, Braden, that's going to be a nice one there. That's going to be a nice one. It's going to be on a Thursday, too. So, you know, your boy will be streaming that one. Primetime matchup. Let's see, you've got the Bears versus the Falcons. I mean, Justin Fields going against a team that should have considered drafting him back a year ago. Then you've got the Eagles and Colts. It's going to be a good one right there. Then we have the Jets and Patriots. And so November 20th, November 20th. You've got the Commanders versus Texans. You've got the Rams versus the Saints. That's a good rematch right there. We all remember what happened in that playoff game right there. So that's going to be a very good one. Again, probably should have been a primetime matchup there, but that's a good one. You've got the Browns versus Bills. I mean, with Deshaun Watson, by week 11, I'd have to assume that Deshaun Watson will be in the starting lineup there. So regardless of what Cleveland record will be, depending on how long he gets suspended and stuff like that, then this could be a very good matchup at this time, especially if the Browns can find some ways to win early. Again, I don't know the situation with Deshaun Watson's, suspension, but, assuming that, all goes well for Cleveland, this could be a very good matchup right there. Let's see, Andrew says Rams and Saints. Let's see, old man says Rams versus Saints is going to be a really good game. Saints will be out for blood. So, yes, it will be. It really will be. All right, let's see. Lions versus the Giants here. I feel like at week 11, Lions versus Giants, if Daniel Jones has not done what the Giants want from him, if they're not at least at about 6-5 or 6-4 or something like that at this point of the season, I think this is the game where it makes sense to insert someone else in at quarterback. Now, it's going to depend, like Tyrod Taylor there. I think they draft Sam Howell? I think they did. But, definitely make that switch. And so Tyrod can get you that game right there potentially. But I do like what Detroit did in the draft. I like that. And so we'll see. But that could turn out to be one of those unexpectedly good matchups potentially. Let's see, Raiders versus Broncos. And so, yes. Now, there is a matchup right there. Raiders and Broncos again. How is this not prime time right here? How is it not prime time? And then you've got the Chiefs and the Chargers. So you mean to tell me you gave me two teams from the AFC West and not one of those ended up in a primetime slot for that week? Instead, they put the 49ers versus Cardinals. I mean, wow. Let's see. Oh man, it says Sam went to the. That's right. They did draft it. They did draft him. They did draft him. So, well, in that case, insert Tyrod Taylor here at week 11 if you have not already. So that's what I say. All right. So December 15th. And so we've got 49ers versus Seahawks, Eagles versus Bears. You've got Lions and Jets, Steelers versus the Panthers. You've got the Chiefs and Texans, Cowboys and Jaguars. You've got the Cardinals versus the Broncos there. That could be a good matchup there. You'll have Kyler Murray versus Russell Wilson, two quarterbacks that usually around this time of the year, they're probably trending in the wrong direction in terms of just not playing as hot as they normally start off the season, I should say. Titans versus Chargers. That'll be a good matchup right there. A very good matchup right there. Titans versus Chargers. That has the feel of the type of game that goes to overtime or something like that. Then the Bengals versus Buccaneers. The matchup that old man said for the potential Super Bowl right there. Bengals and Buccaneers. And so we'll get to see that in the regular season. And then the Patriots versus the Raiders. So we get to go up against Josh McDaniels again, guys. And so that should be very fun right there to go up against Josh McDaniels on a Sunday night. And then for Monday night, the Rams versus Packers. And then obviously Christmas, they've got, okay, so the Broncos and the Rams here. Okay. And so these are the ones they currently have here. So let me go ahead and start pulling up individual team schedules here. Let's see what man says. Giants top quarterbacks are Tyrod Taylor and Danny Dimes. And so, yeah, I remember the acquisition of Tyrod Taylor. Let's see what man says. Titans versus Chargers be a great game. Titans new offense versus Chargers new defense. And so, yes, I'm expecting that to be a great game, a tremendous game. And so let's see. All right, so give me 1 second here. Okay, let's see. All right, so give me 1 second here. Looking up some. Right now, I'm about to find the Packers full schedule here for you, Braden. All right, let's see. All right, perfect. Okay. All right, so perfect. We should be able to see that. See if I can make this a bit bigger here. All right, perfect. Let's see what you guys say here. I'll just go ahead and just close that. All right, so old man says Patriots better be out for blood when they face that two-faced Josh and the Raiders. Oh man. Let's see. Braden says, can't wait to see your Pats beat the Vikings on Thanksgiving. And so, yeah, so that's going to be very fun right there. So now I got to worry about my team on Thanksgiving. Joy to the world. Old man says, yeah, NFL messed up my Thanksgiving having Patriots versus Vikings. And so they did it specifically for you, old man, specifically for you. And so you say, your mother's not going to be happy. She's a Vikings fan. And so they specifically did that for you, old man. And so, all right, but here goes the Packers schedule right here. And so hope you guys can see, you guys should be able to see this really good. And so, but yeah, starting off with the Vikings in week 1. And so, yeah, that's going to be right off the bat there, playing the Minnesota Vikings here. An opportunity to start off 1-0 and also 1-0 in the division there against your biggest threat, potentially, most likely your biggest threat in the division. And then from there to be able to play, let's see, week 2, the Bears, and then play the Buccaneers week 3. And so, yeah, so I definitely like their odds here against the Minnesota Vikings here, but I think it'll be a close game there. No Adams there. I get that. And I like what the Vikings did defensively in the draft. And so it'll be a close game there. But end of the day, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, you guys already know It's going to be Aaron Rodgers right there. So he'll find a way to build some rapport with his receivers, whether he has to bring out Randall Cobb, another 3-touchdown performance or something like that. But it'll be fun to watch. It will be fun to watch. Then you've got, obviously, the Bears, Justin Fields in week 2 there. And that's going to be a later game, Sunday night game right there. So that's going to be one in which I know the Bears are going to be fired up for that one. But at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers, guys. He's still Aaron Rodgers. Now, things get very interesting here week 3 against the Buccaneers. I mean, Braden, I hate to say it, but I'm a little concerned for your Packers in this matchup on week 3. I'm a little concerned on week 3. And then week 4, Braden, is when those Patriots are going to be – they're going to bring it to you. They're going to bring it to you, honestly. They're going to be bringing it to you. And so I'm excited about that one. It's a great opportunity for the Patriots to go out there and establish themselves. So I'm liking this. Week 5, you got the Giants game. I believe it's going to be down there in London. And so let's see. And then the Jets, that'll be at home against New York Jets. And so if you guys can do this, that one solid, beat the Jets there, that'll be nice. And then on the road at Washington, week 7. And then week 8 on the road at the Bills. So the Packers at the Bills. That's going to be one heck of a matchup right there. I know Mike will be pretty fired up about that matchup. And then you got Detroit on week 9. And that game will be in Green Bay. And then week 10 going down to Dallas. Week 10 will be at Green Bay. But it'll be versus Dallas here. Then week 11 will be the Tennessee Titans. And so that's another good matchup right there. I mean, I see Buccaneers up there. I see Titans up there. I see Buffalo up there. Those are some of those games that if you can win at least a few of those, that'll go a long way in terms of building the team's confidence. But then you've got the Eagles there. And so the Eagles on the road at Philadelphia, week 12. Week 13 down there in Chicago. So a December game, but early December game. And so it's around the time where you need to be concerned about the weather down there in Chicago. But, hey, it's Green Bay. They're used to it. And then you have a bye week in week 14. So, Braden, let me know, how do you feel about the bye week for the Packers landing in week 14 for your Packers? And then week 15 at home against the LA Rams. That's going to be another great matchup right there, defending champs. Then week 16, going on the road at Miami. And then week 17, being back at home versus the Vikings. And then week 18 at home against Detroit. So let's see. Braden says, the first 4 games are going to be good. Braden says, the other games I'm looking forward to are the Cowboys, Bills, and Rams games. And so, oh, yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing when you guys play Buffalo. I'm hoping you guys are able to take care of business in that matchup right there. When you guys play Tennessee, that's going to be a great one as well. Dallas, I know it's going to be a very back-and-forth game right there between the fan bases and stuff like that. The Rams, and, obviously they won the Super Bowl. If you want to get to the Super Bowl, it's going to have to go through them and the Bucs. And so that's going to be important to see how Green Bay matches up versus Tampa and versus the Rams, both teams that have defenses that could give Rodgers a little bit of problems, especially without having Devontae Adams as a safety valve this season. So we're going to see. But there's certainly some nice matchups there. But, yeah, you guys let me know. Everybody else, let me know which matchups here are you looking forward to the most up here. But, yeah, this is definitely – I definitely like the schedule, though. I mean, minus the fact that the Patriots are going to be playing on Thanksgiving. And so, meanwhile, let me pull up the – all right, so next up, we're going to take a look at the Patriots schedule, guys. Let's see. Braden says, love it. We can get a much-needed rest at the end of the season. And so I'm sure old man can speak to what that did for our team last year. And so, okay, so here goes the Patriots here. And so let's see. Again, preseason. And then we start off at Miami. So they even got the preseason up here. So Giants, Panthers. We always play the Giants and the Panthers every year, but this year adding the Raiders to the mix for our preseason matchups right there. Let's see. Look and see. So right here, it says it right here, week 10. Oh man, it says week 10 is Patriots bye week. So how do you feel about that bye week right off the bat? We identify week 10 being a Patriots bye week. Let me know your thoughts on that one, old man. But yeah, so starting off the season at Miami, I like it. I like it a lot. I love it, actually. I love it, actually. Get that one out the way. That has been such a struggle. And lately, they've been coming down to our turf and beating us at our home. So get that first game out the way in Miami. So because it's been a tough place for us lately, I'll admit that. Get that out the way there. Go down there and steal it. We'll be used to the weather because of training camp and stuff like that. So we'll be able to contend with the heat much better in this circumstance right here. So I'm all for it. Go down to Miami and get that W down there in Miami. And then the following week, another road game right there. So back-to-back road game to start off. Imagine if we go 2-0 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they have a rookie quarterback or if they have Trubisky, either way, Patriots have a chance in that one. And then first home game is going to come in week 3 against the Baltimore Ravens. So we're going to have to rely on the fan base, the crowd, and all like that. Like, we're going to have to bring it with our run defense. In all 3 games in the first one, because you look at the scheme that Miami's going to now be running, with Mike Daniels. And so we're going to have to really be entrenched on the ground game those first 3 games and stuff like that. We're going to have to really go all out. But Baltimore, they're going to have an abundance of running backs in the backfield. Plus, they got Lamar Action Jackson back there as well. And so, we may just have to line up in the goal line defense out there and just make that happen. Let's see. Old man says he's got the Patriots going 10-7, maybe 11-6 if things go our way. Old man says week 10 isn't bad. It's more in the middle. Who did the Patriots play before and after the bye weeks? And so, so before the bye week, this time we play Indianapolis before the bye week. It'll be down in Indianapolis. Last time I think we played them, it was coming off of a bye week, either for them or for us, or maybe both. But this time we'll be playing them before our bye week. Down in Indianapolis again. I'm upset that this down in Indy. It should be down in New England this time. And then you have the Jets and we'll play the Jets coming off that bye week. So, and it'll be down in New York for that matchup. So we'll be on the road for that matchup. And so I'm sorry. That'll be. I'm sorry. Those are both home games. I read that one wrong. My bad. So both the Colts and the Jets are going to be home games for us. I read that one wrong. So okay. That works. And then the game against the Vikings, November 24th. And so, but let me just continue from the order I was at. And so definitely, I feel like, first 2 or 3 games there, at least can go 2 out of 3 for us. For us. And then going down to Green Bay, it's going to be a tough one. I know Aaron Rodgers, obviously I keep mentioning without Devontae Adams there, but it's still Aaron Rodgers, it's still the Packers there. Going to be going down to Green Bay as well. So we're going to need our offense to come through and not win, and our defense to really, our secondary is going to be tested there. But luckily for us, no Devontae Adams there. So we'll see how we match up against the new guys that they brought in and such like that. But it'll be a good matchup, though. I feel like it'll be a good matchup. Bill Belichick's going to have a game plan. So we'll see how that looks. And then we get to play Detroit. So Matt Patricia's versus his former team there. It's going to be in New England. So looking forward to that one. Going down to Cleveland again. So at this point, if Deshaun Watson at least receives, I'll say at least an 8-game suspension, because sometimes once they dish out the suspension, the player appeals it. So if it's like on the longer end, then we may potentially not have to face Deshaun Watson. And now, I remember the last time I think we faced Deshaun Watson. Correct me if I'm wrong, old man, but I think the last time we played Deshaun Watson was the time that he led the Houston Texans to defeat us that time single-handedly by himself, it seemed like. I did not expect for them to do that, but he was able to pull out that last second touchdown or whatever. That's the old man says. Man, that Jets game sounds like a trap game. And so it really does. That's the old man says, okay, depending on if Bill Belichick got this run defense going, I'm okay with week 10 bye. That's a big if. That's a big if. Old man says, with the teams the Patriots facing, I'm loving the Mac Wilson trade and bringing in Jabril Peppers more and more. That's the old man says, yeah, Texans beat us last time. Patriots played him. And so, okay, I was thinking that was the last game there for him. I know last year we played them with Davis Mills, but okay. So, yeah, so that's one thing I'll be looking out for to see, Deshaun Watson situation there. And if he gets suspended, how long, and if that'll impact our game or not. And then fresh off of that, being at home against the Chicago Bears, it's going to be a primetime matchup there. So I'm looking forward to that. Seeing Justin Fields there, that's, hopefully he doesn't shine on our defense. Then going down to the Jets October 30th. So we'll be done with the Jets in October pretty much. November. And then the matchup I mentioned before at home against Indianapolis. It's important this time is that it's finally in New England because we've been going out of Indianapolis, I feel like, for the last couple of games. So the league finally having them come back to our home. And then we have our bye week, get healed up, refresh and get ready to make that final stretch. Get on a hot streak here, and we're going to need it. Now, I like the fact that we played Buffalo 2 of the last 6 games, similar to last year. Played them when it matters the most. But then, coming off the bye, Jets at home, going down to Minnesota, November 24th. And then so our first matchup versus Buffalo is going to be at our home as opposed to Buffalo. So at our home there. And then we go down to Arizona, which at that time for sure Hopkins, he'll be back. And then you have the Raiders at Las Vegas. And then you've got the Bengals coming down to our home. So we play the Bengals at our home. That's going to be one. I hope our secondary is coming along by then, old man. I really do hope so. I really hope so. Let's see. And then we play Miami this time at New England January 1st. So I'm expecting the fact that they're coming out in the January, bring out all the bad weather, take the cap off the field, everything, whatever it takes. I'm excited about that. I really love that right there. The NFL finally got it right there. So I love that aspect right there. Get them at home. And then last game of the season, going down on the road at Buffalo. Hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Old man says, NFL really did make Patriots face a lot of teams that can actually run the ball. That's the scary problem. And so, yeah, looking at this, old man, I mean, if we could do it all over again, I'd convert to your mock, let's not go with the Kobe Dean. Let's go Devontae Wyatt. And like you did for the mock draft, we certainly can use him. But it's going to depend on the growth of Christian Bazemore year 2. Guys like that, like the guys that we drafted last year to take big leaps in this upcoming season. And then, hey, some of the younger guys, if they can come into their zone, and help out. But, hey, we've got work to do. We still have work to do. Plenty of work to be done between now and then. Yes, the old man says, yeah, I'd rather face Buffalo later in Buffalo. Hopefully there's a blizzard again, right? Right? Absolutely. Imagine that. Division on the line, and we have the blizzard game to where they can't generate their offense at all. So I'm all for it. But, yeah, I like this. You guys let me know, what team do you want us to look at next? Meanwhile, let me keep checking to see the actual schedule here. But, yeah, guys, let me know which matchups you guys want to see next. I should say, which team do you guys want to see next? Let's see. I'm looking to see if they've added more of the games up here. And so, okay, I believe that now we can finally look at, let me just double check before I say that. All right, they're still adding some games here and there. All right, so I guess I'll go division by division here. So let's look at the rest of the AFC East division. All right, so we'll look at Buffalo's schedule coming up here. And so, SEO man says, he says, Mr. JB Coates. Okay, so who does Mr. JB Coates facing this year? And so, absolutely. That is, let me go ahead and look that one up real quick. We can get back to this one here. They don't play this one, so yeah, let's take a look real quick and see. I'm sure he want to know as well as he's watching this. So let me look and see who are the Colts playing. All right, so let me just look to make sure this is the full schedule. All right, got it. All right, so last year the Colts had a very difficult schedule. This year, however, all right, so let me see. Braden says you should stream the Pats versus Packers game. And so honestly, Braden, the reason why I choose the primetime games is because, like, since I stay in an apartment, I don't have access to some of the games outside of NFL Red Zone. And so I'm not sure entirely if I'll be able to actually see that one live or not. So yeah, that's why I typically stick to the primetime games and the primetime slot. So I'm mad it didn't make that one a primetime matchup, but I will look and see as we get closer in terms of, like if that's something that I think I'll be able to actually see it live myself. But with that being said, all right, so here is Indianapolis' schedule. And so, all right, so the Colts, they start off on the road at Houston, week 1. And so, yeah, they'll start off with that one. That's a winnable game. Then week 2 against Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. That's another winnable game right there. And then week 3, things start to get interesting. Week 3, at home against the Chiefs, but they are at home in that matchup against the Chiefs. So that's got to feel better for them in that scenario. And then Tennessee at home again. So the tough games early on, they'll be at home for those matchups. At home against Tennessee. And then on the road against the Broncos. Now, that's going to be a very tough one right there for Matt Ryan and company. On the road at Denver. We know that what they did with Russell Wilson. We know how that defense is going to be. So that's going to be a tough one for them there. Then they go on the road at Tennessee. So the first 2 games feel like the kind of games where, they should be 2-0. To be honest, they should be 2-0. But then they'll play the Chiefs. Although at home, that's still going to be tough. Kansas City's still going to be Kansas City there. And so it's a winnable game, but, it could go either way. And then Tennessee, it's going to be important since they're going to have to get off to a fast start since they're going to be playing Tennessee, who's expected to be their top competition this upcoming season for the division. So it's going to be extremely important to get off to a fast start. In those games against the Tennessee Titans, you want to win those matchups there because you got 4 division games out of your first 6 matchups there. Not to mention all 6 of them early on are AFC opponents. So you want to get off to a fast start if you are Indianapolis. And then from there, you've got the Washington Commanders on the road there against Indianapolis. And so if Washington defense can be healthy this year and they can get their primary playmakers the ball, it could be an interesting game there, but I expect that Indianapolis should be able to win that one. And then going on the road to New England, November. I feel like they always schedule that game near my birthday when it comes to the Patriots and Colts. They're going on the road at New England. That's going to be tough to go down there. We know the history and stuff like that, Pats and Colts. And we remember how things went down last year. Bill hasn't forgotten. I haven't forgotten all of that stuff. Let's see. Braden says, gotcha, JB. They probably didn't want to make it a primetime game because N'Keal Harry's still in the roster. I think it's more so the NFL, what they said, I think it was before last year. And if anybody knows when that statement was made, do correct me. But I think they said last year they wanted to get every team an opportunity to have, I think it was 2 or 3. I think it was 3 primetime matchups between every team. And so everybody gets a chance to shine, or at least a primetime matchup, I should say, at least a primetime matchup. So they try to find different ways to give other teams an opportunity to be on primetime, stuff like that. So I think that's what it is. But all right, so after the Patriots and Colts game, I can honestly see Josh McDaniels calling Bill Belichick after the game, asking for tips, asking for advice to help the Raiders out versus the Colts in that matchup right there. I can honestly see them too, since their relationship and stuff like that, exchanging notes, stuff like that. So yeah, Indy going down to the Raiders right after going down to New England there. So that's gonna be tough right there. And then they have Philly come down. So and so Philly coming down. I know 80s is gonna be rooting against Mr. JB's team on that one. And then afterwards, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be going down to Indianapolis. And so we'll see how that plays out. But that should be a good matchup right there, a very good matchup. By this point, I expect Kenny Pickett to definitely be in the starting lineup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I absolutely expect for that to be the case. And then you have Indianapolis versus Dallas. At Dallas, that's a night game right there. It's primetime matchup. So I should point out back-to-back primetime matchups between, the Colts and the Steelers. That's 8-something, so I know that's going to be a good one. And then you've got the Colts and the Cowboys on a primetime matchup, guys. Wow. Let's see. Then you have the Colts going down to the Vikings. And then you've got the Chargers going down to Indianapolis. And then, and that's going to be a good one as well. Both of those could be a good game right there. You'll have Jonathan Taylor versus Dalvin Cook. Who knows? Maybe it can turn into some type of, all-out run-out. Who knows? Chargers versus Colts there. Then the Colts play the Giants at this point. And then they ended against the Houston Texans at home. So I expect Tyrod Taylor to probably be the quarterback there for the Colts. For the Giants in that one. And then Texans versus Colts. And so, okay. But yeah, there are some good matchups here for Indianapolis there. I could see them. Let me see. Let me give a projection here for them. So I'll go win. I'll do my predictions probably as soon as all the schedules are fully up there and stuff like that, and I can go team by team and select them. But let's see. They can start off 2-0 at home against the Chiefs. I'll say that they can win that one. They can win that one. That defense, Jonathan Taylor. But, the Chiefs, I like what they did as well with the improvements they made. I think that was going to be a classic of a game in which the winner probably wins 34-31, gets the football last. But do we really trust Matt Ryan in a close game? He's still Matt Ryan, right? So in that scenario, I'll give it to the Chiefs. So I'll say 2-1. At home against the Tennessee Titans, I think at home they do a good job against the Tennessee Titans. So I'll have them go 3-1 right there. Against the Denver Broncos on the road, I'll say the Broncos win this one. They'll go 3-2. Let's see, 3-2. Then against the Titans here, I'll say Derrick Henry and company lose this one. So I'll say 4-2 and stuff like that. I cannot forget they did lose A.J. Brown. Like Ryan Tannehill's looking over his shoulder now. Indianapolis does a pretty good job usually against Tennessee. So I'm going to say 4-2 and stuff like that. It'll be some close games, but 4-2. And then Washington, I'll say 5-2. Indianapolis, I'll say 5 against us, 5-3. Against the Raiders, I'm gonna say 5-4. Against Philly, I don't think old man's on right now, so I'll say 6-4. 6-4. Against Pittsburgh, it's gonna be close, but I'm gonna say 7-4. And against Dallas, I'm gonna say 8-4. Against the Vikings, 9-4. Chargers, make that 9-5. Giants, that'll be 10-5, and then Texans, that'll be 11-5. I feel like I feel like they short me a team here, like we're missing a team, and so I'm in 80s. As the old man says, yeah, I got the Colts going 11-6 or 12-5. So I got the Colts winning about 11 games. But no, I meant 80s, old man. I meant 80s. And so, yeah, I don't think 80 is on with his Eagles and all like that. But I can see 11 games for the Colts, 11 or 12 games. That seems about right. I think that their projection should be between 10 to 12 games for this upcoming season. All right, so let's see. All right, so let us take a – so what team do you guys want to see next? Let's see. Meanwhile, let me just look and see if they happen to have the entire schedule now. All right, let's see. Let's take a look at the Bengals schedule. See what that's going to look like. All right. All right, so the Bengals schedule now. All right, so we've got this right off the bat. I mean, Steelers and Bengals. You know, that's always a physical game right there. It's always a physical, hard-fought game right there. So that's going to be a good one. It's going to be important for both teams. They're going to want to get off to a fast start there. I think the Bengals, you know, like, hey, the Bengals, if they can come out there looking like they did last year, that's a winnable game right there for them. So I can see them definitely winning that one at home. Being on the road against the Cowboys week 2, I can still see them coming up victorious there down in Dallas. Let's see. Bengals on the road at the Jets here week 3. Then week 4, having the Miami Dolphins come down to Cincinnati. I'm hoping the Bengals can take care of business in that one. And then going down to the Ravens. I mean, last year, Joe Burrow, he balled out against the Baltimore Ravens last year. I don't know how he did it, but it's like he saved his best games for the Baltimore Ravens last year. So we'll see how he does this year against the Ravens. But that's going to be an important week 5 matchup there. Let's see, going down to the Saints. Ooh, that can be a tough one. I've seen the Saints defense shut down many a great quarterbacks, many an MVP quarterbacks. So look out for that matchup right there. This could be one that favors the Saints to win that one just off of pure matchups and how they tend to do against the better quarterbacks in the league. So I can see the Saints defense totally shutting down that offense in that one. Let's see, Falcons versus Bengals. Bengals should get that one. Bengals versus the Browns. You know, depends on at that point of the season, you know, how the Browns are looking offensively, but it could be a very good matchup for them. Panthers on the road at Cincinnati. Let's see. Old man says, Bengals, Patriots need you to beat the Jets and the Dolphins. Don't let us down, Burrow. And so, absolutely, don't let us down, Burrow. Please. Please. Let's see, November 20th, Bengals and Steelers, this time at Pittsburgh. Bengals versus Titans, going to be another marquee matchup right there to see those two teams play each other ultimately. For that, I'm looking forward to that. Let's see, Chiefs and Bengals. It's another one. Let's see, old man says, I think Honey Badger will be the key to the Saints defense. I can see him playing all over the field. And so it just made too much sense, honestly, for it not to happen. It made too much sense for it not to happen, honestly. So I could definitely attest to that as well. Let's see, Browns again versus the Bengals. Then the Bengals versus the Buccaneers. Again, that's that matchup that you projected for the Super Bowl. Hey, we will see. And then Bengals versus Patriots. It'll be down in New England later in the year. So at that point in time, you know, we'll see how everybody's hitting their strides and stuff like that. But I expect Cincinnati to be full force by that time of the season. Bills versus Bengals down in Cincinnati. And then the final game of the season, the Ravens versus the Bengals. That's going to be a tremendous one. So, yeah, very good one right there. Again, looking to see where is their bye week at. Let's see, Thursday. Then, all right, so their bye week looks to fall between the Bengals and Panthers matchup and the Bengals and Steelers. So getting a bye week before you play Pittsburgh down in Pittsburgh, that's going to be big right there. You get a chance to really game plan for Pittsburgh as they're always a tough out. So that's a good spot right there for them, honestly. Not too late in the season. So, all right, so there we go for the Bengals. All right, let's see. All right, give me 1 second. All right, let's see if they have it fully released now. Okay. All right, I keep checking to see if they've added all the games or not yet. All right, so we're almost there. We're almost at the point, guys, where the entire schedule is available for me to just go through week by week. So we're getting closer to that. All right, let's see. Old man says, I'd rather Patriots face the good teams later in the season because Patriots defense also takes a couple weeks to get it together. And so, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Honestly, that's what we sort of want. Early on, let's get some momentum going. Let's win the games we're supposed to win and just keep improving week by week, getting better like Bill Belichick coach teams do. They get better and better. So by the time we're in that, late October, that November, that stretch down there, we're starting to hit strides at a high level. So, okay. All right, so yeah, there's only a few teams that they're missing. Well, a couple games that they're missing right now, I see. All right, so we can look at probably another team, and it should be ready after that, I think. All right, let's take a look at. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at some NFC teams here as well. Let's take a look at the Eagles. Let's take a look at the Eagles real quick. All right, so looking at the Philadelphia Eagles and their schedule. So starting off, at Detroit, week one, that's definitely a winnable game right there. Then at home against the Vikings, that's one that you could certainly win right there. That's one of those close matchups there. But, being at home, you have an opportunity to win that matchup. Let's see. Braden says he has the Packers going 13-4. So 13-4. As the old man says, people keep bringing up the fact the Dolphins swept Patriots again. The problem is they got rid of the head coach who knew Patriots the best. And so absolutely. And you know what? I mean, people got to understand it's the NFL, so there's a couple factors such as, when you play somebody, some teams are going to be better in certain elements. Certain teams are going to be better at home as opposed to being on the road and stuff like that. And then obviously, as you mentioned, the head coach, he's not there. Same thing with the Saints. Sean Payton's not coming through that door no more for them. So we'll see how the Saints look against Tampa Bay in that matchup. But you never assume anything in the NFL. I remember last year when I was doing the Tennessee Titans schedule and for my predictions for that one, and everybody got so mad when I projected that they could get upset to the Jets. And what happened in real life, the Jets actually came through and they upset Tennessee in that one. That's the NFL. Sometimes strange things happen. On paper, it should never happen. But it actually, the NFL, things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. Let's see. Braden says he has them losing to the Bills, Vikings, Buccaneers, and Rams. So you'll put the Vikings, but you won't put the Patriots, Braden? You won't put the Patriots on that? Come on now, Braden. But let's see. And then going down to Washington early in the year right there, I mean, that's a game that the Eagles should win, but will this be revenge for Carson Wentz? I mean, will he be able to take it out against his old team? Does Carson Wentz have anything in him that maybe, I don't know, a trigger goes off and he's like, these guys, they're the first ones that gave up on me, so I want to ball out, and maybe he has a game to remember that game? Who knows? Who knows? But that game could be closer than most people think. Let's see. Braden says his bold prediction is the Jags win the Super Bowl. And so, Braden, that's the kind of talk that you do if you got money to throw at the wall and you're going down to Vegas and you want to make a bold projection that if it works out, then hey, you strike it big. And everybody's like, man, that guy's a genius. He saw it coming first. But hey, you know what? We like it. This is the time of the year where it does make sense to just go ahead and just throw anything out there. Just throw it out there. Speaking of Jags, the Jaguars versus the Eagles there. And so, I got the Eagles winning that one there. So I think the first 4 games they play, they're very winnable. Versus the Cardinals, I forget how long D-Hop's is suspended for, but I think he'll still be suspended for that one. So I think he'll be still be suspended for that one. When does he come back? Oh, man, is it is it just the first 4 games or the first 6 games that he's suspended? As the old man says, I actually have the Eagles winning their division, but I also have them losing against Wentz when he comes back to Philly. And so, interesting. Let's see. Braden says, you guys won't win because N'Keal Harry will drop a bunch of passes. He won't see the field. And so, Jay in the Bay, what's good with you? And so, you say, what's good, JB? And so, hey, the schedule's out. I'm happy. Old man says D-Hop. Okay, so D-Hop is a 6-game suspension. So, yeah, I got the Eagles winning that matchup then for that one. And then they play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be a tough one there. Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh does upset. I should say upset. They do beat the Eagles in that matchup right there. But, it could go either way. Again, I will do my predictions and stuff like that at a later time for each and every team. But, that game could go either way. Let's see. Jay says, how many games the Patriots win in this year? They're going to win them all, is what I would like to tell you. But realistically, I say our range is anywhere between, if things go bad, real bad, awful, the ceiling for us is about 8 games, I think. And the floor for us is 8 games. The ceiling for us is, I say, 10 or 11 games. So I would go along the route of saying 10 games this year for the Patriots. 10 games. I think this year we're going to finally beat Miami and all like that. Tua's going to be throwing some ducks, and we're going to be waiting on it. Braden says the game he's looking forward to the most is the Cowboys game. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well. I really am. I just hope the referees don't, call any catches and completion against the, Cowboys this time around. Let's see. Old man says, you're right, Braden. N'Keal will be dropping balls just with the Patriots. Just with the Packers when Packers give Patriots a 6th-round pick for N'Keal Harry and a 2024 7th rounder. Let's see. Jay says, okay, I can see that. And so, but what do you think about the 49ers, Jay? I haven't gotten a chance to look yet for the 49ers schedule. But what do you think about the 49ers schedule? What games do you like, and when do you guys have your bye week? And so, meanwhile, to continue through this one, I'll put up the 49ers next. But so going down on the road at Houston, a winnable game, but as Coach Dante would tell you, it's not going to be a walk in the park. By this time of the season, I think Houston's going to be extremely competitive. In every game you play, it's going to be close. It's going to be one of those that you can't go out there and just expect to beat the Houston Texans. You have to go out there and actually play and beat these guys, especially if Davis Mills takes another step to his game or at least picks up where he left off at. And so Washington versus the Eagles, old man said this could be a trap game right here. I can see that. Jalen Hurts, it seems like a couple games in that November and October, December, Jalen Hurts will have a couple games that just leaves you like, man, I thought you guys were going to come in here and dominate, but what's going on? Why does he look like this? He's going to give you a couple games out the year where you're like, what's wrong with him? Let's see. Old man says, don't forget to hit that like button. That's right. Make sure you guys press that like button. And if you're someone that's new, make sure you do subscribe to the channel as well. Let's see. Jay says, Bye week is 9, and I could see us win 11 or 12 games. And so, okay, bet. Let's see. Braden says, okay, JB, you want to play that game? I can see the Pats don't deflate the football versus the coast. I am not the least bit concerned about that because last time I checked, TB12, he's in Tampa. And so apparently the league blamed him for that thing. So I say that's a Tampa Bay issue right there. That's a Tampa Bay issue. He's out there deflating balls. He's out there throwing tablets. That's all Tom. That's all Tom. I have no responsibility for Tom's actions. None whatsoever. As Bill Belichick said, ask Tom about that one, not us. Oh, boy. All right, let's take a look at the 49ers. Then after the 49ers, I'll look to see if all the games are officially up there for me to just go week by week for every team. So let us take a look at the 49ers. All right, so the 49ers, again, this Houston game is a preseason game right there, but they're going to open up at the Bears. So potentially we're looking at Trey Lance versus Justin Fields there. So we'll get to see how things pan out. And then you've got the Seahawks versus 49ers in week 2. Obviously, Seahawks, I don't know who they're going to stay up there at quarterback, guys. I mean, it might be Geno. It might be Drew Lock. It might be your next door neighbor. I don't know, but they're going to send someone out there at quarterback, and they don't seem bothered by it at all. I mean, who knows? And then the 49ers are going to be going down to the Broncos. That's going to be an interesting one to watch right there. Very interesting one to watch down there at Mile High as well. We'll see how that plays out there, especially if Trey Lance is out there, young quarterback on the road in that environment right there. We'll see how that pans out. But then right after that, after just playing the Broncos, you again have to play against the Rams. Obviously, last year they did a pretty good job against the Rams in the regular season. Obviously, they didn't win the one that mattered the most, but a chance to avenge that here. And so we'll see how that works out. And then going on the road to Carolina and stuff like that after that. And then you've got the Falcons, a very winnable game right there. Very winnable game right there. And then the rematch of the Super Bowl from years ago that 49er fans probably will never forget against Kansas City Chiefs. They're the one that if Jimmy completes that pass, we're probably talking about Jimmy in a completely different light. So they'll get to play against the Kansas City Chiefs in that one. Let's see. Braden says he wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks beat the 49ers in one of those games. And so, it depends, because if they start Trey Lance and stuff like that, then I will look and see how that pans out. Because, Trey Lance, I feel like the 49ers season is going to depend on him. If he comes out and he becomes the guy that we thought he was prior to the draft, then this year could turn out to be great. He's the kind of guy that may be worth taking a risk on when it comes to fantasy football, getting him late if you're in a deep fantasy football league, or either picking him up if you see that he starts to come out there and ball for a couple games. But you never know. You never know. He could have that type of thing. Or if somehow the 49ers decide they want to stick with Jimmy G, I feel like he'll be on the roster at that point in time. So, either way, though, an opportunity there for the faithful. But last year's game, even with Geno Smith, was extremely close against the 49ers. So I could see that being the case as well, with it being close, but ultimately it depends on the quarterback play for both teams. And right now, my money would be with the San Francisco 49ers if it came down to quarterback play between those two teams. The old man says, dang, JB, I guess Braden must have hacked my phone because I was about to buy a flight for that day so I can deflate those footballs. And so, got him. Got him. Let's see. Braden says, LOL, old man. And so Mr. JB probably appreciates that, Braden, in terms of you calling that out. Oh, boy. Let's see. And then at home against the Rams. Those were great matchups last year. That's really what got the 49ers rolling last year, honestly, was simply the fact that they were able to get those wins against the Rams at that point of the season. Then they took off from there. And then, obviously, I mentioned the Panthers, Falcons. I mentioned the Chiefs and the Rams again. You got the Chargers here coming up. That's going to be a good one right there, that Chargers game. Then the Cardinals. right there. D-Hops will be back there. How will Kyler Murray look at this point of the season? I feel like it was around this time of the year. And Braden, correct me because I forget what time. I think you guys played the Cardinals last year in Week 9. I feel like that is when Kyler Murray started to tip toward, like, just going the wrong direction towards the middle of the season and stuff like that. And he's been doing, like, Cardinals have been having this problem finishing seasons for a couple years now. So it may be best to play the Cardinals either before D-Hops comes back or either later in the season once Kyler Murray starts to, slipping up. But we'll see if things change. And then the Saints versus the 49ers. And so I remember Jimmy G had one heck of a game against the Saints a couple years ago. So we'll see how the quarterback play does against the Saints on this one. Let's see, Dolphins versus 49ers here on this one. So down in San Francisco. And then you play the Buccaneers here. And so obviously everybody wants to see how they match up against the Buccaneers this time of the year in December. TB12, he's going to have that team ready. So we'll learn a lot about where the 49ers are as a team during that matchup right there, as they are built, as a type of team that could give Tom Brady some difficult times there. Of course, it's going to come down to that secondary being able to hold up against those receivers, but the front four versus Tampa, that's going to be a great matchup to watch in that one, of course. And then 49ers versus Seahawks again. Got to make sure you don't slip up on that game right there. Got to make sure that you don't slip up in that game. Then Washington versus the 49ers, another game that I think at this point in the season, we'll see. We'll know a lot about Washington, but definitely that defense, if they're healthy, they're going to cause some problems there. So you've got to definitely be on your toes in that matchup. Let's see, 49ers and Raiders. I know the fan base is going to really love this one right here. And then ending it versus the Arizona Cardinals. And so that should be a good one right there as well. As the old man says, I would just be there so I don't get fined. And so there you go. Let's see, old man says, I can't wait to see how Brown does with Kyler, because if he balls out, what does that say about Lamar? And so I feel like, personally, I feel like it's hard to judge Lamar because of the system that the Baltimore Ravens run. That's why Malcolm Brown wanted to leave. He was not happy with the run first, system that they had down there in Baltimore, in which, in order to complement Lamar Jackson's skill set, they're gonna run the ball a great amount. So, maybe with a different offense, maybe he could have excelled with Lamar. Lamar showed us 1 year he can pass, and so that's enough for me. That's enough for me. If Skip Bayless can tell the American people that Baker Mayfield is that dude just off of 11 games that took place throughout his career, nothing else matters but just that 11 games, then heck, why don't we do the same thing for Lamar Jackson, who put together an MVP season and all like that? And so, if that's the standard that Skip has set, then why not? Why not? So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But let's see. So, yeah, but that is the schedule there for the San Francisco 49ers. All right, let's take a look now and see if the NFL schedule is complete for me to go through it. Okay, let me see if they added the few games they were missing. Okay, it looks good. It looks good. So I think I can pull up the full NFL schedule now. Okay, so all right, so yeah, so obviously we talked about this, but I'll go ahead and go through it again because I can actually go through the entire NFL schedule now from here. So yeah, so we talked about obviously Josh Allen here, Matthew Stafford, Bills on the road. First game to start off, I'm going to be rooting hard for the Rams on this one, guys. I'm going to be rooting hard for the Rams on this one. I'm going to be rooting for them to beat the Bills here. Eagles versus Lions, that'll be a fun one to see how that goes there. I feel like that could be a close game, especially down in Detroit. I feel like it could be a close game, especially if Jalen Hurts is not the guy who the Eagles are hoping that he will be, then this game could be extremely close here early on. But, my man got no excuse. He's got the weapons here. They got the run game. There's no excuses now. He's got more than enough weapons to work with. 49ers versus Bears. I mean, hey, you've got Trey Lance potentially versus Justin Fields. That's the matchup we want to see. And then for the Steelers there, starting off on the road at Cincinnati, that's always a hard-hitting game right there. And as we mentioned, old man, Pats on the road at Miami to start it off. I mean, last year we would have beaten the Dolphins had Damian Harris not fumbled that football last year in the opener. So hopefully this year we'll go ahead and be able to win that opener this time. But, I mean, that means our secondary right off the bat. I mean, we're going to have to be able to look out for Tyreek Hill in that matchup, for the Pats. And so right off the bat, but at least Bill Belichick will have time coming into it, the game plan specifically for that prior to the opener. So I feel good about this for Patriot fans there. Let's see, Browns versus Panthers. I mean, if you're the Browns, I mean, even though you're most likely going to have a suspension, and that's what Carolina hope is going to be, having Christian McCaffrey in the backfield week 1, plus also the fact that Sean Watson may not be quarterbacking there for the Browns due to the suspension that we're still waiting to hear back from the NFL about how that's going to look. But so Carolina could win that game. But, I mean, the Browns, they still got plenty of running backs, and they still have some veteran quarterbacks on that roster. So there's still a winnable game there for the Browns, even without Deshaun Watson. As the old man says, was just about to say that if Harris didn't fumble, Patriots would have won. And so I remember, believe me, I remember because I was super upset. I was like, we need that one right there. If Harris doesn't fumble that football right there, I mean, who knows? Maybe we win. Maybe we win the division. Who knows? That's the old man says, if Hurts starts playing bad or can't get over the hump, play Carson Strong with those receivers who can go deep and give Strong a shot. And so I'm definitely in favor of that. I don't know when their bye week is, but after the bye week, if the Eagles are not leading that division or within a game or two of that division and you're just not seeing it there, then absolutely make that move later in the season. But absolutely. So let's see. Colts on the road versus Houston, as we discussed there. Then Jaguars on the road at Washington. And so it's a chance for Carson Wentz to come out and really, establish, at home week 1 against the Jaguars. But it's also a chance for Trevor Lawrence to show we're not going to be the same Jaguars we were last year, because now we've got a coach who's, going to give us some stability here. So we'll see. As the old man says, you can even say when Cam was starting quarterback, the reason why Patriots lost 3 games were because of the fumbling problem. And so you're right, fumbling, and then the one game against Kansas City that year where Cam didn't play, and when Cam came back, he wasn't the same guy after getting COVID. But that game against the Chiefs, Bill Belichick had a game plan. It's just we didn't have someone that can execute it offensively to give us a good enough chance to actually win that game. But we played good enough to win. If it wasn't for quarterback play between Jarrett Stidham, who's no longer with us, he's with the Raiders, and Brian Hoyer. Let's see, Saints on the road at the Falcons here. Ravens and Jets. I expect that to be a physical game right there. And if Lamar struggles early in this season, like early in this game right here, this could be a game where I could see the Jets potentially upsetting them. But I'm hoping that the Ravens just come out, take care of business. But yeah, I'll be looking to watch that game right there. It's going to tell me a lot about how physical this team's going to be. I think the Jets are going to be the type of team that, regardless of what their records say, you're going to have to go out there and really fight to beat these guys at this point. Let's see. Then the Packers and Vikings on the road at Minnesota right there. Giants versus the Tennessee Titans. So I expect Tennessee to come out there and win that game right there. I mean, I'm just not sold on Danny Dimes. I wasn't sold when the Giants drafted him. I'm not sold now with him. And I don't think they are either. Let's see. The Raiders versus the Chargers. It can be a great matchup. Great matchup. I mean, you look at these later matchups here. I mean, wow, some great matchups here. The only one that I'm not too thrilled about is the Giants and the Titans. But you throw that aside, every other one, love it. Love it. You got the Broncos and Seahawks. Got the Buccaneers and Cowboys again, open up the season. So Chiefs and Cardinals. Let's see. Old man says, do you think Sam Howell takes over? I give it a 45% chance just because how Wentz always trying to get the most out of every play. Plus, he's been getting hurt a lot more each year. I say I give him a great chance to play this year. I do. I mean, it could turn out like you said, Carson Wentz, he's shown, like a lot of injuries to his career. So the odds of him playing, they're pretty high. Or if Carson Wentz just doesn't perform, the fan base is going to be harping that they want Sam Howell. And that's a fan base right there that they're going to want to please the fans as much as possible. So I could see a lot of scenarios where Sam Howell gets a shot. And by a shot, I mean at least gets to start 2 games. I'll say at least 2 to 4 games. I could see that happening, 2 to 4 games this year. More if an injury steps in. But I'll say at least about 2 to 4 games, honestly. I could see him starting for the Washington Commanders. So, especially when they fall in love with him and the hype, and then, I could see that happen. Think more so what Houston had last year with Davis Mills. I could see that being a similar situation potentially here if Carson Wentz goes down early. If Carson Wentz gets hurt before week 6, Sam Howell the rest of the way. I think that's how it goes down there for Washington. So I would give that probably about a 65% chance of happening, I think. 65% chance. I'm pretty sold it's going to happen at some point. All right, let's see what else we got. But that's our week 1. Now, looking at week 2, obviously the Chargers and the Chiefs, you got to love that one Thursday night. I mean, tremendous Thursday night football. I remember watching that game last year. And what stood out to me in this matchup between these 2 teams were the 4th down conversions. Kansas City was able to get some 4th down conversions. Chargers were not able to get some 4th down conversions. The Chiefs improved that defense. Chargers improved that defense. They went and acquired a guy like J.C. Jackson. The Chiefs, they lost their wide receiver. So this is going to be a tremendous game right here. Critical early in the season, absolutely critical. You want to win this one if you're both teams here. And so I'm excited to see this one. And what it's going to turn out to, honestly. And this was going to be a great one. Obviously, the Patriots on the road down there in Pittsburgh. The fans that down there in Heinz Field, they're going to let Mac Jones hear it down there. But I like the fact that, our quarterback, he's going to be in his 2nd year. I expect Mac Jones to take a nice leap forward. I'll go on record and say Mac Jones, he's going to exceed 30 passing touchdowns this upcoming season and have 13 or less interceptions. So you heard it here first. Meanwhile, for the Steelers, I mean, if they end up going the rookie quarterback route, Bill Belichick does great against rookie quarterbacks. He does great against rookie quarterbacks. And Najee Harris, he's a good running back, great running back. But if we're just focusing mostly on him, then this is going to be a true test of our run defense for the Patriots. But I mean, ultimately, I believe the Patriots can figure this out on the road with that one. Then you've got the Panthers versus the Giants. I mean, it's possible that at this point next year, we could be watching some of the Sports Blitz videos. And hey, Carolina could potentially start off 2-0. But don't let that fool you. At some point, the wheels are going to come off the wagon for this team. And so I'm just saying, because especially when they play Cleveland early on, if, Deshaun Watson's not playing, then hey, it could be anybody's game there, especially Christian McCaffrey early on gets running. But they can't put the workload fully on Christian McCaffrey like that. They got to deviate this up. I need Robbie Anderson to revert to Robbie Anderson from 2 years ago. A lot of things that Carolina got to figure out, a lot of things. But the Giants, they are a team with giant problems as well. But I like what they did in the draft, though. The Giants killed it in the draft. So did the Jets also. The Jets versus the Browns. This should be a good matchup, I think. A very good matchup that goes down to late in the 4th quarter, I think. And then the Colts and the Jaguars. Indianapolis, should be favorites there. Dolphins and Ravens. That'll be a good matchup right there. Buccaneers versus Saints. Commanders versus the Lions on that one. Then you've got Seahawks and 49ers. Falcons at the Rams. You got the Cardinals and Raiders, Texans and Broncos, Bengals and Cowboys. You've got the Bears and Packers, Titans and Bills, Vikings and Eagles. All right, so let's see. Now, week 3, you've got the Steelers versus the Browns down there in Cleveland. You've got the Bills going down to Miami. Again, I call this a judgment game early on to see where Tua's at. If Tua has improved at all, We will find out in this game right here versus Buffalo. But Miami cannot let the Bills just come and shatter them in this game. Otherwise, there's going to be some rumbles early in the season for Tua. Let's see, Bengals versus Jets. Raiders versus Titans. I like this matchup a lot. Raiders versus Titans can be in Tennessee. Got the Saints going down to Carolina. Ravens versus Patriots here. That's going to be another test of the Patriots' run defense here. Lions versus Vikings. Eagles versus the Commanders. Then you've got the Chiefs on the road down here at Indianapolis. And so, again, Jonathan Taylor, can he have a big game in this one? Patrick Mahomes versus the Colts defense. Colts will be playing optimistic type of defense here. We'll see how things playing out, but that'd be a good matchup right there. Texans versus the Bears. I mean, hey, Lovie Smith, previous team when he used to be with the Chicago Bears. I mean, he only led them to a Super Bowl, even though they didn't win it. But he did lead them to a Super Bowl with Rex Grossman as his quarterback. So, I mean, that was pretty impressive right there. Pretty impressive. And then you have the Jaguars versus the Chargers here. And so, again, in year 2, can Trevor Lawrence take that leap? I mean, that's honestly what I'm going to be looking at for the Jaguars all season long. Can Trevor Lawrence show us what made so many people so confident that he was can't miss for that first spot at quarterback? So we're going to find out a lot about Trevor this upcoming season here, and we're going to grade him extremely harsh here because, I mean, if the Jaguars are going to go out there and have a good year and contend for this division, it's going to have to start with Trevor Lawrence taking a massive leap, kind of like what we saw from Joe Burrow from year 1 to year 2. He has the tools to do it, so we'll just have to see if they can put it together. And then having Doug Peterson as well as the head coach, I mean, I'll be looking to see what the Jaguars can do. I would not be surprised if this turns out to be one of our surprise teams this upcoming season, but we'll have to watch and see. As the old man says, JB, another game I'm looking forward to is Patriots and Lions. We already know Matt Patricia going to want to prove the Lions and their fan base that they're wrong, and their fans they're wrong about him. And so, yeah, absolutely. 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 I totally agree with that. And I'm going to be looking forward to that one as well. Then you got the Texans versus the Bears, Jaguars and Chargers, I already mentioned. You got the Rams and the Cardinals here. Again, no D-Hop for that matchup. Packers on the road at Tampa Bay. It's going to be a tough one. Falcons at the Seahawks. Then you got the 49ers and Broncos. By the way, if I'm the Falcons here, like if Marcus Mariota comes out and just doesn't look good at all in the first 2 games, like he just looked like Gadget Man 2.0, then perhaps this is not a bad matchup to try to insert Desmond Ridder. Let's see. 49ers and Broncos, Cowboys and Giants, again, for that Monday night primetime matchup right there. Daniel Jones, let's see what the Giants bring for us on a Monday night game. They tend to do interesting on primetime games sometimes, so we'll see what they do in that one. Let's see. Old man says, plus, hopefully, if Bill Belichick listens to us, Trey Flowers breakout game. And so I feel like it's going to happen, old man. I feel like it's going to happen because it has to happen. It has to happen. The need is just too strong. It has to happen. All right, but let's see, week 4. So we've got the let's see. Got the Dolphins on the road at Cincinnati, and that's going to be the Thursday matchup there. Then you've got the Vikings and Saints, Seahawks versus Lions. You've got the Jets versus Steelers. That'll be a very good matchup right there. You've got the Bears and the Giants. You've got the Titans and Colts. That's going to be important, pivotal, because these 2 teams are going to be facing early in this year, so it's going to be a pivotal matchup. Tennessee going down to Indianapolis. Got the Chargers and Texans. Got the Browns and the Falcons. Commanders and the Cowboys. It's going to be another good matchup there. You've got the Jaguars and the Eagles. Got the Bills and the Ravens down in Baltimore. That should be a good matchup right there. Got the Cardinals and Panthers. Broncos and Raiders. That's A great matchup right there. Love this matchup right there. Patriots on the road at Packers. Hey, don't be surprised. Bill Belichick comes through on that one. Chiefs and Buccaneers. Rams and 49ers as our Monday night matchup for that one. All right, week 5. So week 5, Indianapolis versus the Broncos. And so, Broncos, I think, will have a chance to win this one here, but the Colts tend to do I feel like they tend to do a good job against the Denver Broncos specifically and all like that. Even when Peyton was with the Broncos, the Colts still went out there and they played hard. They played extremely hard against the Denver Broncos. Then you've got the Giants and the Packers. You've got the Lions and Patriots. You've got the Chargers versus the Browns. Texans versus the Jaguars. Falcons versus the Buccaneers. Steelers versus the Bills. And so I remember last year's opener when the Steelers upsetted Mike's Bills. And so, but this time it's going to be down in Buffalo this time. And so we'll see what happens this time around. Dolphins and Jets, hey, this could be positioning in the division right here. If the Jets do something similar to what I think they're capable of doing, then this could be a extremely interesting game right here. Again, I mean, this is the teams that Tyreek Hill had to choose in between, the Dolphins and the Jets. He says there was never a doubt in his mind that he was going to choose Miami. So Jets are going to want to make him pay for that. Then you've got the Bears versus Vikings. You've got the Titans versus Commanders. Let's see, Seahawks versus Saints. 49ers versus Panthers. Eagles versus Cardinals. Cowboys versus Rams. Then the Bengals versus Ravens on Sunday Night Football, which means, we'll be streaming that one. Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson. Then you've got the Raiders and Chiefs Monday Night Football. Can't miss. Can't miss. All right, let's see. Let's see. Old man says Patriots are tied with the most primetime games with 5 this season. So that's great. That means I get to actually stream my team 5 times this year. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, what can I say? We're just a fun team to watch, right? Just a fun team to watch. All right, let's see. So week 6, obviously, Washington going down to Chicago. And then you've got the Ravens on the road at the Giants here. Jaguars at Indianapolis. Let's see, Patriots versus the Browns here. And again, week 6, depending on, the whole Deshaun Watson situation there. But ultimately, we'll see what the Patriots come up in store. But the Patriots run defense, they're going to be extremely tested in the first 6 games. Then you have the Bengals and the Saints. Got the Buccaneers and Steelers. And so it'll be interesting here. I saw what Tampa Bay did last year to Justin Fields when they played a rookie last year. But Steelers have a, better equipped team around because at this point I do expect Kenny Pickett to be the quarterback by week 6. I do anticipate he's going to be quarterbacking here for Pittsburgh, and so I'll be interested in seeing how he fares against this Tampa Bay team in a big game like this. 49ers versus the Falcons, Jets versus Packers, Vikings and Dolphins, Panthers versus the Rams, then the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. Then you've got the Bills and the Chiefs, which could have very easily have been a primetime matchup there, but instead they put the Cowboys and the Eagles for your Sunday Night Football slot, and then Monday night Broncos at the Chargers. And then let's see, week 7, you've got the Saints at the Cardinals here, and then you've got the Packers at Washington. I like this one here. I think this one could be a potential trap game there. Got to be careful there. It's all going to depend on Carson Wentz, honestly, but this could be a trap game. You've got the Browns versus the Ravens. That's going to be a good game, an extremely good matchup. I mean, I remember the game that these two teams played a couple of years ago that kept going back and forth. This could be a very good game, especially if Deshaun's out there. Then you've got the Buccaneers versus the Panthers, Falcons and Bengals, Lions and Cowboys. Let's see, Giants versus Jaguars, Colts down at Tennessee, and this is the second time these two teams will be playing. So this will be, I believe, the final matchup between the two. You have the Texans and Raiders. You've got the Jets on the road at the Broncos. You've got the Chiefs at the 49ers. You've got the Seahawks at the Chargers. Got the Steelers on the road at Miami. That could be an interesting matchup right there. Then you've got and that's going to be the Sunday night matchup. And then the Monday night matchup is going to be the Bears and the Patriots. I can't wait for that. Can't wait for it. All right, here we go. Week 8, you have the Ravens and Buccaneers. That's going to be a tremendous matchup right there to see that matchup right there. And then you've got the Broncos versus Jaguars. Got the Dolphins and Lions. Going to be rooting hard for the Lions to win that one. Panthers and Falcons. Let's see. Cardinals versus Vikings. That's going to be a good one right there. And you've got the Bears and Cowboys. Raiders and Saints. That could be a very, very good game right there. Especially down in New Orleans. You've got the Steelers versus the Eagles. Then the Patriots on the road at the Jets. And so, yeah, that's going to be extremely challenging right there. But that's one, as Patriot fans, we have got to win that matchup right there. Patriots have got to win that matchup there. We cannot afford to fall to the Jets, not once this season. Then you've got the Tennessee Titans versus the Houston Texans. Giants versus Seahawks. Washington on the road at Indianapolis. Carson Wentz versus his former team in the Indianapolis Colts. And you've got the 49ers versus the Rams. You've got the Packers and Bills. You've got the Bengals and Browns. Love that Packers versus Bills matchup down there in Buffalo, October 30th. Looking forward to that. As well as the 49ers and Rams last year. Every time they played was a fun matchup. So I'll be looking forward to that one as well. All right, so week 9. All right, so the Eagles on the road at Houston. You've got Indianapolis coming down to the Patriots. You've got the Lions going down to Detroit week 9. You've got the Chargers at the Falcons. Buffalo going down to the Jets. I'll look to see how competitive the Jets are in that matchup and where they currently are at that point in the season. Vikings versus Commanders. And then you've got the Panthers and Bengals. You've got the Raiders and Jaguars. You've got Miami on the road at the Bears. And you've got Seattle at Arizona. And then you've got the Rams. That rematch versus Tampa Bay, and so Tampa Bay, they're not gonna forget how their season ended. So I expect Tom Brady to be extremely fired up for that matchup right there against the Rams, for sure. Then you've got the Titans versus the Chiefs. That's going to be our Sunday night matchup there. A great matchup, just like last year. A great matchup there. Tennessee versus Kansas City. Then you've got the Ravens versus the Saints for our Monday night matchup. All right, so now week 10. By week 10, I expect Desmond Ridder definitely to be quarterback in here. And then versus Carolina. Who knows? Maybe Carolina might have Matt Corral in there at this point of the season. I would imagine if they don't acquire another quarterback, that I expect Matt Carroll probably be quarterback in here for Carolina at this point of the season in week 10. Because Sam Darnold, I think he'll flame out by then. Then you've got the Seahawks and the Buccaneers. You've got the Lions at Chicago. You've got the Browns at Miami. You've got the Broncos at Tennessee. It's gonna be a tremendous matchup here. Broncos at Tennessee. Then you've got the Vikings on the road at Buffalo. You've got Houston on the road, the Giants. Jaguars on the road at Kansas City. Remember, around this time last year, I think it was exactly around this time last year, Jacksonville went on the road to Buffalo, and they upset at Buffalo, which nobody saw that coming. And so we'll see if the Jaguars have something like that up their sleeve this year when they play a team like the Chiefs. Then you got the Saints versus the Steelers down in Pittsburgh. Then you've got Indianapolis down there in Las Vegas. That's going to be a great matchup right there. They played last year as well late in the season, and so this will be a great matchup. Then you've got the Cardinals and Rams, another good matchup. Then you've got the Cowboys and Packers, an extremely good matchup there. I can't wait to see that one. Chargers and 49ers, a good matchup. Then you've got Washington versus the Eagles. That's going to be our Monday Night Football matchup that week. And then we get to week 11. So by this point, week 11, A lot of teams will start, looking at their bye week. So if they haven't had it yet, but you have Tennessee versus the Packers. It's another good matchup there. Down in Green Bay as well for Thursday Night Football. Let's see. Old man says it's rumored the top 3 teams to sign James Bradbury are the Raiders, Patriots, and for some reason, Kansas City. They love adding Kansas City to that. I would probably just ignore Kansas City. I think James is more concerned about opportunity as opposed to trying to contend for a championship. That being said, I think that, I really like the Patriots odds there if Bill wants that to happen. That's my thing. If Bill really wants that to happen. Let's see what man says. JB Judon out there trying to recruit James Berry to New England. Man, I love Judon. And so, yes, I mean, he's out there working the phones. He's like our personal recruiter. He's the man. He's the man. He's the man. Well, let's see. And then, the Bears on the road at the Falcons. Eagles at Indianapolis. That'd be a good matchup there. Jets at the Patriots. Patriots got to stay focused here and try to go ahead and sweep, because this would be like the second time in the span of about 3-4 weeks that we've been playing these Jets. So got to be focused and got to take advantage of these matchups here. And then you have the Commanders versus the Texans. You've got the Rams versus the Saints. Browns versus the Bills. Got the Panthers versus the Ravens. Lions versus the Giants. Raiders versus the Broncos. Down in Mile High. Great matchup. You've got the Chiefs and the Chargers. Another great matchup there. Cowboys at the Vikings. I remember last year, Cowboys were able to win with their backup quarterback against Minnesota. And that was on Halloween when they played last year. So this time, we'll see how things play out this time around here for the Vikings, if they can avenge what happened last year. You've got the Bengals and the Steelers again. Then you've got the 49ers and Cardinals for Monday Night Football. All right, week 12, you have the Bills and the Lions. So the Bills will be going down to Detroit. Hopefully Detroit has a little upset in them that week. You've got the Giants down at the Cowboys. Patriots versus Vikings on the road. You've got the Texans down in Miami. You've got the Bengals at Tennessee. You've got the Broncos at the Panthers. You've got the Bears at the Jets. Falcons at the Commanders. Buccaneers at the Browns. Baltimore down at Jacksonville. The Raiders down at the Seahawks. Then you've got the Chargers at the Cardinals. That'd be a good one right there, Chargers at the Cardinals. You've got the Saints at the 49ers. That could potentially be a good one. You've got the Rams and the Chiefs. That definitely will be a good one there. You've got the Packers going down to the Eagles. So we'll have Braden team go down to 80s team, and we'll get to actually stream that matchup there on Sunday Night Football. So we'll get to see Braden's Packers versus 80s Eagles in that matchup. And then we'll get to see the Steelers and the Colts for Monday Night Football when I stream that one for that primetime matchup. All right, now week 13. At this point, week 13, we have a strong indication of who the good teams are, who the teams that's getting hot now, who's the teams that's not. All that stuff is becoming more evident in week 13. Buffalo coming down to New England December 1st, the first time those two teams will be playing this year. So I like it. It's in December. Then you've got the Packers at the Bears. You've got the Steelers at the Falcons. You've got the Jets at the Vikings. Then you've got the Jaguars go down to Detroit. Tennessee on the road at Philadelphia. That's going to be a good one right there. I mean, you get to see A.J. Brown versus his former team in Tennessee. Browns versus Texans, which could potentially and should most likely be the Deshaun Watson versus his former team in the Houston Texans. You've got Washington versus New York Giants. You've got the Broncos versus the Ravens down in Baltimore. Miami on the road at San Francisco. You've got the Seahawks at the Rams. Chargers at the Raiders. The Chiefs at the Bengals. And then Sunday Night Football, Indianapolis will be going down to Dallas for Sunday Night Football. And then Monday Night Football, the Saints at Tampa. And so I'm just hoping that, everybody's healthy at the quarterback position for the Saints in that particular matchup, and that we should get a great matchup there. Again, I know no Sean Payton, but we'll see what the Saints can do versus the Buccaneers in that matchup. All right, week 14. So then the Las Vegas Raiders on the road at the LA Rams. That's going to be a great one for Thursday Night Football. The NFL stepped it up when it came to Thursday Night Football, guys. I believe the NFL stepped it up, especially this year when it came to Thursday Night Football, because these are some matchups that I definitely want to see. Raiders and Rams, yes, give me that. Let's see. Old man says there's a lot of former players and coaches facing their old teams this year. And so, oh yeah. And I'm sure the NFL took all of that in mind when they did their scheduling. All right, let's see. Vikings at the Lions. You've got the Ravens at the Steelers. And then that's going to be a great one. A great, hard-hitting physical matchup right there, as I'm pretty sure both teams would be trying to, get their places in the playoffs. And so I expect it to be competitive. Same with the Browns and the Bengals. That's going to be another competitive one right there. You've got the Jets going down to the Bills. You've got the Texans at the Cowboys. Then you've got the Eagles going down to the Giants. Then you've also got the Jaguars on the road at Tennessee. Divisional game. Never know what can happen there, especially if Trevor Lawrence, is coming into his zone by that point in the season. Then you've got the Dolphins versus Chargers. You've got the Panthers versus Seahawks. You've got the Buccaneers on the road at San Francisco. Good matchup there. You've got the Chiefs versus the Broncos. Great matchup. You've got the Patriots on the road at Arizona for Monday Night Football. Okay. Hopefully by that time, Kyler Murray won't be playing his best ball at least against us. All right, so week 15. Niners on the road at Seattle. Miami on the road at Buffalo. And then obviously at week 15, so the weather's going to be crazy right there. So we're really going to see if Tua's still quarterbacking at that point for Miami. It's going to be pretty tough in that matchup for him. You've got the Colts versus the Vikings. You've got the Falcons at the Saints. Giants at the Commanders. Ravens at the Browns. It's going to be a great matchup there. Eagles on the road at Chicago. So that'll be an interesting matchup, I feel. You've got the Lions at the Jets. Steelers at the Panthers. Chiefs at the Texans. Cowboys at the Jaguars. You've got the Cardinals at the Broncos. Titans at the Chargers. Let's see, Bengals at the Buccaneers. Some good matchups, especially the Titans and Chargers there. Cardinals and Broncos. Some good matchups. Bengals and Buccaneers, of course. And, of course, when the Patriots go down to the Raiders, it's going to be an important matchup as well for both teams. And then the Rams and the Packers. Let's see, old man says, Jags are going to be a sneaky team to watch. See what Dougie P can and will do as the new head coach. And so, that's what I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. I think he's going to do a good job there, and we're going to find out about Trevor Lawrence a lot this year. All right, week 16. Jaguars versus Jets. It's going to be a Thursday night football game. So we're going to get to see Trevor versus Zach Wilson, the two quarterbacks that were taken first the previous year. And so see how they've come, at this point of the season, week 16, in that matchup there. So that'll at least be something interesting in watching that one. Falcons versus the Ravens. By this point, I expect Desmond Ridder to be quarterbacking for Atlanta. You've got the Lions versus the Panthers here. Who knows? Maybe Matt Carroll can be quarterbacking here. Who knows? Seahawks versus the Chiefs. Let's see. Saints versus the Browns. Texans versus the Titans. You've got the Bengals on the road at the Patriots here. And so we'll see how the weather looks for that one. But should be a great matchup there. Giants versus the Vikings. Bills on the road versus the Bears. And quite frankly, I don't think it mattered who would have been at home in this one because the weather would have been the same either way, just about. So then you've got the Commanders at the 49ers. Eagles at the Cowboys. Raiders at the Steelers. Then you've got the Packers going down to Miami. So luckily for Miami, this will be at home as opposed to the road for us. So if you're a Dolphins fan, you're happy about that. You've got the Broncos at the Rams. You've got the Buccaneers at the Cardinals. You've got the Chargers at the Colts. Again, that's going to be our Sunday night matchup right there, that matchup right there. And then let's see. You've got, all right, week 17. You've got the Cowboys on the road at the Tennessee Titans. It's going to be a Thursday night football game there. You've got the think this should be Thursday night. And then you've got the Steelers at the Ravens. It's going to be another good matchup there. So a good matchup there. Then you've got Cardinals and Falcons. Then the Dolphins coming down to the Patriots. And so if the Patriots can take care of business in week 1, go down to Miami and take that one, show them that, hey, we're back and we're not going to mess around this year. Then being at home, especially in January, the weather should be bad. Tua, if he's quarterbacking, hey, this is the opportunity. This is the opportunity. Let's see. Old man says, JB, do you think Baker will help Panthers or Seahawks win more games, or they would have the same record with the quarterbacks they have now? To be honest, if Baker was there, I think they would win more games, like both of those teams there. But the question is, if you're Seattle, that next year, Bryce Young, that's a possibility. That next year, CJ Stroud. Now, I'm not saying that they're intentionally going to do anything like tanking, but if the guys you have go out there and do bad, at least if you end up with a top 2 pick, you're for sure to get one of those 2 guys at quarterback. Meanwhile, for Carolina, though, I feel like Carolina wants to win now. And so I feel like Baker would help both of those 2 teams win more if he's healthy, like fully healthy. I know he'll have a chip on his shoulder, so he'll have some games where he'll go out there. And I think Baker could be an average. His ceiling is above average, I think, if he goes out there and he's fully healthy and he just, resets his mind, matures more, I feel he can be an above average quarterback to average, but that's his ceiling. Most likely, I still think, though, especially with the Seahawks, though, he's going to get you more wins than a Geno Smith. He's going to get you more wins than a Drew Lock can get you. No doubt about that, especially the weapons that you got in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. But I like it better for Carolina, though. Even though Carolina doesn't have much to work with, though, you just can't go out there with Sam Darnold. You cannot sell that to the fan base. I know the same thing could be said about Drew Lock, but Sam Darnold, he's lost it. He's lost it. So, but I feel like he could really help both of those 2 teams out to win more. It's just them winning more might result in them picking 5th or picking 6th in next year's draft, meaning they don't get their quarterback of the future because the teams at the top will take them, or either a team like Philadelphia or Miami might package a couple, picks together to move up and get the quarterback that they would like to get next year. So then that sets you back another 2 years, if that makes sense. All right, let's see. All right, I don't think did I go through? Okay, I think I went through, let's see, Packers and Dolphins, Broncos and Rams, Buccaneers and Cardinals. You got the Chargers and the Colts. Now, week 17, Cowboys and Titans. It's going to be a good one. Okay, I did some of these here. So the Steelers and the Ravens, Cardinals and Falcons, Dolphins and Patriots. Love that matchup there. Love it. Then you have the Saints and the Eagles, Colts and Giants there, Colts and Giants. Then you've got the Panthers and Buccaneers, Broncos and Chiefs. Things are going to be very heated, and this may very well be for the division title, potentially, or at least to get a heads up on it. Then you've got the Bears and the Lions. You've got the Browns and the Commanders, Jaguars and Texans, 49ers and Raiders, Jets and Seahawks. You've got the Vikings and the Packers down in Green Bay. Then you've got the Rams and the Chargers, got the Bills and the Bengals. All right, so week 18, final week of the season. Cardinals, 49ers. You've got the Browns at the Steelers. You've got the Ravens at the Bengals. Again, these are the divisional matchups we're looking at. Vikings at the Bears, Cowboys at Washington. You've got the Lions at the Packers. You've got the Patriots going down to Buffalo. You've got the Rams at the Seahawks. You've got the Jets at the Dolphins, Chiefs at the Raiders. Then you've got the Buccaneers at the Falcons, Giants at the Eagles, Panthers at the Saints, Chargers at the Broncos. Again, could be a great one for playoff positioning there. You've got the Titans at the Jaguars, and then you've got Texans down in Indianapolis. So that is our regular season, guys. And so a lot of great games to look forward to. So much to look forward to this upcoming season, guys. It is going to be insane. It's going to be insane, honestly. But yeah, I cannot wait to see some of these matchups here. And then obviously last week of the season, everybody's going to play their division opponent there, which I love that about the NFL when they made that switch there. But yeah, a lot of important games here. But some of these teams, they can't afford to play around, especially early in this season, as they need to get off to a good start to have a chance. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, that pretty much concludes the draft party, guys. And so let's see. Old man says, dang, last week of the season will be wild. A lot of teams' playoff hopes should be on the line. And that's what you want from an NFL perspective. That's exactly what you want from an NFL perspective there. I mean, quite frankly, looking at it, based upon how things go out, you could easily see like the Ravens and the Bengals playing for a division title. You could see that happening. You could easily see the Patriots and Bills playing for a division title or a playoff seeding or something like that. You could see the Chiefs and the Raiders going for a division title there. You could see that being the case. You could see a team like the Chargers and the Broncos playoff seeding division title. You could see that being the case. You just never know. You never know. But that's what you love about it. You love about it because when everybody's playing division games, at least a couple of these teams are going to be playing for the division. So that's what you got to love about it. Browns and Steelers. It's a good one. Cardinals, 49ers. So got to love that about it. Got to love that about it. But there you guys have it, the NFL schedule review. And, of course, later on I will start going through and I will start doing some projections for, each team record-wise. I need to think about this, look at, the additions, the losses, and then obviously the NFL is unpredictable. So, I mean, I'll make sure to state that, like these are my projections in terms of how things are going to play out as opposed to who's just a better team. And, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun with that. Let's see, old man says, in my opinion, I think NFL did a great job this year. That's right. There's a lot of great games each week. This might be one of the best NFL seasons ever. I have to agree with that, old man, simply because they stopped playing around with Thursday night football. They stopped treating it like it was an exhibition match, and they actually gave us some good matchups to look for on Thursday night football. So I'm happy about that. Let's see. Braden says the Heat are in the Eastern Conference Finals. Appreciate that update right there, Braden. And so, yeah, congrats right there to the Miami Heat. They put the 76ers out of their misery. I'm looking at James Harden like, bruh, like, what are you doing, James? Like, do you what? Like, how many points did James Harden score before I even say that? How many points did he score? But yeah, some great matchups there looking across the NFL. But yeah, I feel like they did a lot of good things here. They did a lot of good things. Let's see, old man says, JB, how do you feel about the rumors that Doc might be the new head coach of the Lakers if the 76ers fire Doc? And so I'm not in love with that idea. Because I feel like we know how this is going to play out, like it's done for him the last couple places there. And so I'm not in love with that idea. I think that's how I feel about it. I'm not in love with that idea. Let's see, Braden says only 11. And so only 11 points? Dude, what is he doing? Like, only 11 points? Like, wow. They gave up a lot of pieces for him. They should be mad right now. They'd have been a better team probably without him. Let's see, old man says, someone needs to check on 80s to make sure he's okay. And so, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, 80s is probably having an extremely hard time right now. He's probably broke his TV, so he probably didn't get to watch the rest of the matchup. But, man, that's tough. That's tough. Let's see. Braden says Stephen A. Smith went off on him. And so Stephen been going off on a lot of people. But it's at 80s, please don't break your stuff. He's gonna. He is. It ain't worth it. It just ain't worth it. Old man says, yeah, Harden is a waste. He's definitely a third to fourth guy. He's not a true number one or number two guy anymore. And that's just one of the things that you got to be able to recognize. You got to be able to recognize that. Let's see. Braden says, I'll see you next stream, JB. And so, yeah, I appreciate that, Braden. Appreciate that. I did set up my stream for the next one. It's going to be on Saturday. I'm going to be streaming a USFL game. It's going to be the one that comes on at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I forget. I think it's Tampa Bay again. No, it's actually the Generals versus I can't remember who they're playing that one, but I did set up that matchup. So Saturday will be the next stream. I've already got it set up. I just can't remember the teams that it was. But absolutely. So I'll be streaming again on Saturday as I take Fridays off. But yeah, guys, I mean, wow, what a schedule this is. I mean, the only dislike, if I had to pet Pete to just, make things difficult, is the fact that they put my Patriots on Thanksgiving. I am not too fond of that. I like to sit back and watch and laugh. I don't want to have to stress about my team. But at least we now know which game for sure I'm going to be streaming on Thanksgiving. It's going to be the Patriots and Vikings. That is for sure. But yeah, I mean, the Bills and the Lions early on, that's going to be fun. Giants and Cowboys, it's going to be fun to watch as well. I mean, you know what? I'm with it. As long as they didn't give us the Bears and the Lions matchup again this year for Thanksgiving, I'm with it. So I am with that. Let's see. Anything else stands out schedule-wise? But no, this is great. This is great. And so let's see. Old man says another great stream, JB. Patriots can get that run defense right. I think now that Bill sees the schedule and stuff like that, maybe this might entice him to go and pick up our guys. I mean, we'll see. Trey's out there. Akeem's out there as well. So let's go ahead and let's do it. Let's bring these boys in and let's gear up for a great season. And so, but yeah, appreciate you guys for coming out and joining me. Gonna go ahead and end the stream here. Definitely very tired right now, but definitely appreciate you guys for coming out. Means a lot. And I will see you guys again Saturday. Of course, I'll probably be posting some stuff in between then, but I will see you guys again Saturday, hopefully for the USFL matchup there. But thank you guys again for joining. It's been great. It's been real. Again, I will be working on prediction videos as well. I'll do quite a few and stuff like that in terms of my prediction videos. So, but thanks again for watching. You guys take care. Have a great night. Hey, tomorrow's Friday. Got to be excited about that. Weekend is almost upon us. Just one more day, guys, and we'll be there. Payday maybe for a lot of guys tomorrow. But with that being said, guys, take care. Have a great night. See you guys again next time.